Alright, I got my 2022 Ford Maverick here. I'm going to be upgrading the factory speakers and installing some sound treatment into doors. Alright, I'll be installing some Focals K2 power speakers here, and about 3 to 4 square feet of CLD panels for the door. And then I can show you the difference that makes here. So the back door is untreated and the front door is treated. So pretty big difference there. Here is the factory speaker. You see it's a pretty small magnet compared to the Focals. So for installation, the max mounting depth in the doors for these speakers is 1 5/8 inches. You can see there's a pretty big difference between the factory and the aftermarket speakers. So to actually install these speakers, I needed to include a 1-inch spacer on top of the mounting bracket. So these were included with the speakers from Crutchfield. You'll see these tabs here, they pop off. You just gotta push them hard. And then here's what I had to buy for my speakers: 1/2 inch spacer. And you know, both of these speakers should fit. So what you'll need to remove your door speakers is a 7 and 8 millimeter socket. I also need some plastic trim panel tools. Got it sitting here. These are useful so you don't scratch the plastic when you're removing the panels. And then lastly, you probably want to also get some speaker gasket tape here. This will help make the speakers an airtight install. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so to remove the door panel, you're going to have to remove 5 bolts. So you have 2 down here, and 1 over here. You got 2 underneath this piece, and then 1 underneath here. So I'm going to pop this off really quickly. It's a tight fit, but it should just pop right out like that. So you got one right there. Now for this one, you're going to want to come at this location here, pop up, pop a few of these clips here, and then pull this way, because there's a tab that goes inside the door panel here, so you have to pull out. Okay, so I popped that straight up. You can see there's 1 clip there, another clip right here, and now what I want to do is grab this and pull out this way. And there's that little tab I was mentioning. This goes inside the door, so not too bad. Here you want to just disconnect these, get that out of the way. Alright, now this door is ready to be pulled out. have one little tab that attaches this panel to the door. You want to pull straight out. So it's being held up by these two connections here and the door handle. So we're going to take this off here. Need 2 hands for that. Door handle just pops straight out. Alright, so now I'm going to be adding some speaker gasket tape over the 2 brackets here. That's so that the 2 plastics don't vibrate and make noise. Alright, so got these nuts on, put some Loctite on it. You can see it doesn't stick out beyond the bracket. Want to make sure it doesn't stick out. Next week I will. Alright, so I have the speaker ready to be mounted. Only issue is, you see, you gotta connect the speaker behind the bracket now. So the only way to do that is connecting it back to the factory adapter here, and then when you mount the speaker back on, you're going to have to smash the wire against the speaker mount in the panel here to have it connected. If you do it this way, this is the easier way, but I mean, you're not going to get a very good airtight seal around the plastic panel and your speaker bracket. So if you're going this route, I recommend maybe putting some speaker gasket tape around this area, maybe a thicker 1/4 inch gasket tape here, and then you can probably cut some grooves to feed in this wire here, so when you do attach the speaker, it's more airtight. Alright, so that's my recommendation if you're going that route. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut up this cloth tape. I'm gonna have to break these zip ties here. I'm gonna cut it all the ways up here and feed the speaker wire on the back side of this door so that I can connect it behind here. The only problem is that this won't fit through that. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to cut this off, and then when I feed it behind the panel, I'll solder it back together. So more work, but it's cleaner. You get a better seal when you attach the speaker. So. Alright, I'm going to try to solder this together without burning my fingers. there you go. Got this resoldered, so now it goes through the back side of the plastic. Alright, so the last part of this install is when you install the speaker, it's going to be sticking out so far forward that it's going to be touching this plastic ring on the blue door panel. So what I want to do is I want to get a razor and just cut this off, and it's very thin, super easy to take off. So after that's done, that's pretty much it. Install the speaker, connect it, and that's it. Next part will be me adding some sound treatment to the door panels and the inner door sheet metal. Alright, so I cut off that thin plastic ring around this area here, so now my speaker won't touch it when I install it. So anywhere you got large flat areas, you want to add a pretty big piece of the CLD panels. So I want to try to cover this up and hopefully reduce, you know, any vibrations coming from this. Alright, so I added these CLD panels to the inner door. Found the large flat surfaces to apply it on, and then I added these butyl rubber rope pieces in between this top plastic and bottom plastic, just to minimize the noise between the two. So I got a few pieces around here. See how those work out. And the next step is to add CCF on top of this so it doesn't vibrate with the other plastic panel. Alright, now its next step is to remove this window regulator. It's part of this black plastic panel, and to do that we're going to need to remove all these white clips around the piece, and then also remove 2 bolts behind the yellow tape here and here. To remove these white pieces, you see that you got an arrow, black one, matching up with this one. That means it's locked in place. You can either use a flathead screwdriver or a 13mm socket. So I'll use this because I'm stripping this plastic inside. Alright, and then you can just use a screwdriver or something to pop these out. Alright, and to remove these bolts, you're going to need a T30 screwdriver. Actually, before we remove that, let's tape this window to the door frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the window down by like 1/2 inch so I can have room to move it up, and then I want to tape it to this door frame. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is reach into the inside of this door, and there's 2 like U-clamps that hold the window up. So on the back side of that is like a little lever. You just gotta pull it a little bit and it should release the window. All you gotta do is push up. I'm gonna apply the tape on first to catch it from falling down. Alright. Alright, so that one is released, and the other one is over here somewhere. So what you probably have to do is, there's this like little bulb round tab that goes into the middle door. Pry that open. So, and probably this side too. There's another one right here. And you can reach your hand inside. Alright, so the window is now detached from the panel piece. Now we can remove these two screws. Alright, so now all we gotta do is disconnect this harness here. Got just a few zip ties. There it is. Here's what I meant about those U-clamps. See, window goes right into these. And all you gotta do is reach back and pull this until the window comes loose and push up. Now I'm going to wipe this down with rubbing alcohol and then start applying the CLD panels. All right, there it is. Say about 90% coverage. Sounds good. So this is the back side of the window regulator. Not a lot of flat surfaces on this, so I added a few CLD panels to whatever flat surface I can find. The next step is to cut out the outline of this shape out of the closed cell foam and then attach this to the the blue door panel piece. Alright, so we have this piece cut out now. So what we're going to do is we need to cut a hole for this to stick out of, so you can still bolt it down to the door frame. And then we're going to have to cut some pieces out here so it fits in this gap, and then probably a few relief cuts so that it folds around the edges more easily. Alright, here's the final piece. So I cut a hole for this piece so I can bolt it back on, and then kind of cut this out so I can lay flat here, and then a few relief cuts around the edges. But looks good. Now just put it all together. This should just go straight into it. Alright guys, all done here. Yes, it's nighttime. Yes, it took me fucking forever to put this back on. The door handle thing would not clip in. But yeah, it's finally back on. Next step is to test it out.